A break from the local political fights to hockey, and a local Olympian done us proud. Welcome into My State of Mind. I am Dan Yorke. It is an honor to have you here. It's an honor to have Michelle Picard here as well, the Taunton native who earned a silver medal with the women's ice hockey team at the Sochi Olympics. I'm sure still disappointed over not getting the gold, but you know, after a couple of weeks wear away and you think about all you've accomplished, got to be good stuff. Looking forward to meeting her tonight in our guest segment. So let us hustle to the rundown here and cover what's going on as we speak, because we, little hint here, we're not live. We record late afternoon every day, and so as we are recording our program today, the House of Representatives is nominating their speaker. We'll have full coverage on the cycle, and of course Eyewitness News will have coverage all evening long. But some thoughts on how the whole House of Cards just kind of came down. That would be House of Cards. This is funny. Sean Daly doing his thing last night on the news. I just got a kick out of how law enforcement reacted to him. And then a little reminder again that our guest last night thinks that 38 Studios is integral to this investigation on the House Speaker. On the lighter side, this is just too funny. Wait till you see this video from the State House. And then, speaking of hockey, woo! Woo! Isn't that how our public address announcer does it? Woo! Every time the Bruins score. All right, let's get to it. No public debate, and this is a crime. Everything that's happening with this House Speaker thing is legal, but I still think morally it feels like a crime. Here's the headline. High stakes vote? Well, not really. Not really, because all of the backroom dealing finally came into kind of an uncle. Here's your speaker to be on the left, and the guy who was giving him a run on the right, that's Nick Mattiello on the left and Mike Marcello on the right. And since Speaker Gordon Fox kind of cashed it all in on Saturday after the feds and the stateies moved in on him in his office and his home, these two guys have been vying for the speakership. And by the way, did you catch the debate they had on public policy issues? Oh, you didn't see the debate on public policy issues? Because there wasn't any debate on public policy issues? Late this afternoon, Mike Marcello from Scituate threw up the white flag and cried uncle. Here's his comment. Earlier today, I spoke with Leader Mattiello and acknowledged that I do not have the votes to be the next Speaker of the Rhode Island House. The conversation was cordial, and I wished him well in the daunting tasks ahead of him. By the way, a little bit too much drama. The daunting tasks, look it up. That means with fear, intimidation. Are the tasks so intimidating that we can't right this ship? You know what, Mike? It was probably pretty good that you didn't become the Speaker of the House. Nonetheless, that the House of Cards, like the show, came tumbling down for Nick Mattiello. What did Nick Mattiello say about what he wanted to do in terms of leading the state? Nothing publicly, nothing that we could have chewed on. He's going to be here Monday now, not Thursday, Monday, and we'll talk to him about that. But you'll have a new Speaker because the process, in a lot of ways, is constitutionally correct and perverted at the same time. Next item. This was very funny. Sean Daly, outside the state police promotion ceremony at Rhode Island College yesterday, it just kind of speaks for itself as he's trying to figure out what's happened to Gordon Fox's investigation. What does everybody think of it?
With the sound of a bagpiper in the air at Rhode Island College celebrating state police troopers being promoted, Eyewitness News checked in with top public officials about the elephant in Rhode Island's living room. The FBI, IRS, and state police raid of the home and office of Speaker of the House, Gordon Fox, now the former House Speaker.
Will Rhode Island ever be able to clean itself up?
I can't comment, Sean. Have a good evening.
I'm not going to opine because the matter is ongoing, so it's just inappropriate for me to do that.
Is it difficult for you to see this again, even just as a citizen of Rhode Island?
I'm not going to talk about it, Sean.
But several officials did talk about it.
I don't think it doesn't matter what profession you're in, whether you're a state trooper or a teacher or what have you. I'm sure everyone in Rhode Island is concerned with what's going on.
It's unfortunate whenever a public official comes under this kind of scrutiny. I recognize that it can shake public confidence.
Is it embarrassing at a gut level, Governor?
I just look to the future. I'm very confident about Rhode Island. We're building the foundation for a good, steady improvement of our economy, and I feel good about the future of Rhode Island.
But somewhere deep inside, this has to bother you.
These things happen.
I just think he's funny. I think he is. By the way, this is the Speaker of the House that we're all talking about. This will be the second night in a row that we have news without his picture. You know, the persona non grata status of the House Speaker is not a good thing. There he is. Boy, he looks good in that picture. You're not smiling today. But you know what? No charges have been filed, and he still is an elected official, although something tells me he didn't show up today for the vote on the next Speaker. Stay tuned. Oh, by the way, that was Chief Lacrosse from Barrington who did offer some thoughts. The first guy is the U.S. Attorney, Pina Nerona, and the second guy is the Public Safety Commissioner, Steve Perry. It's funny stuff. Funny. If you don't, it's like if you don't laugh, you'll cry type of thing. Next item. Speaking of investigations, just want to remind you what Joe Trillo said last night, the state rep from Yorke, who still thinks that it is not just a federal probe of federal transactional issues. It may be 38 studios. Here's what he said last night.
Do you think now that they have all those records and files, you have all these departments in it, an oversight committee at the State House, even if it had unlimited power, cannot do what the Rhode Island State Police can do?
You think this is part of 38?
Oh, I know it is.
I think this is PEDP. I think this is, and you think it's bigger.
I think it's much bigger than what it appears.
There's all sorts of theories running around, including that Gordon Fox's political campaign funds might be being looked at. You know, you go out to dinner a lot, you don't pay the bill because your campaign funds take care of it. Now, I have nothing to prove that. This is just a conversation that's going on. He's a public figure, and sometimes public figures receive some speculation. But sooner or later, at their own timetable, the authorities will let us know exactly what they're looking at. There'll have to be a charge first, and that could take some time. Next item. This is too funny. So this guy who's a pro-gun guy and walks around with a camera and, you know, is pretty rough on people around him. You know, reportedly was a little, you know, according to some, was harassing some folks at an event at the State House when the pro and anti-gun legislation type of stuff was going on. This kind of speaks for itself. Here's a YouTube video that he has published with Senator Josh Miller. I know Josh. Sometimes I just have a little brain spasm. Well, just watch. It's too funny.
Yeah, the Second Amendment shall not be infringed. You people need to understand that. Yeah, go f yourself. Comment, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, go f yourself.
Good comment, sir.
I don't know what every time I see that, I don't know what's funnier, what they said or good comment, sir. Good comment, sir. Josh issued a statement today after this thing went viral and apologized. After watching him antagonize an elderly veteran, he swung his camera my way, which produced a very human and guttural reaction. Regardless of the emotions and atmosphere of the moment, it doesn't justify the language I used that day. Out of respect for the decorum of the State House and the constituents I represent, I offer my apologies. I can see Josh going, you know, whatever. My only comment to that is, good comment, sir. And lastly, not bad, huh? 12 games in, and then they get beat in overtime, or actually in a shootout, I think, after 5 minutes of overtime. That's the way the NHL plays it these days. The Bruins are just a steady force, and thank God they are, because the Celtics certainly aren't bringing anything to the table to make a night at TD Garden fun. Canadians, by the way, have won 5 out of 6. And with that transition, we go to our local hockey star. She's an Olympian, and I can't wait to have you meet her. Stay with us.
Shelley is consistent, steady, relentless. Preparation is awesome. I mean, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I mean this as a tremendous compliment. She's a ho-hum player. I mean, she comes to work every day, and you get the same thing out of her every day, and that's why she's so good.
That's the head coach, Katie Stone, from the women's hockey team, the U.S. women's hockey team. Of course, this is what they were feeling, and this is our guest. Oh, I can't even begin to assimilate what probably was the feeling on the U.S. women's hockey team after that happened. But, you know, a few weeks later, does it feel better? Does it feel any better at all?
When you think about the game, no. But seeing people's reactions and talking to my family, and that helps. and that helps. They're excited and they're proud of the accomplishment. But thinking of those last 2 minutes, no, that still hurts.
Michelle Picard is our guest. Congratulations on
Thank
all your accomplishments. Well, let's start from that since we're on it, and then we'll work our way back to the good stuff. It was so exciting seeing this rematch opportunity between U.S. and Canada, and what I thought was fun was in Michigan when all of the names were introduced, and there was a lot of fervor, and there was a lot of I think that's when I kind of caught on to Sochi, you know, with the NHL and all the live stuff that was going on with the winter ice series that they had. And I think that's when America finally realized, okay, this is game on. Because we catch up to the Olympics. You're training for it all the time,
Yes.
right? But we catch up to it. But you've had an incredible rivalry with our neighbors to the north, huh?
Yes.
It ain't pretty, is it?
It gets heated. We're competitive.
And there are a couple of brawls, or one good brawl that got a lot of attention. What did you feel about that? All the attention on the little fight that you guys had in one of the prelim games.
I mean,
were you involved in that?
I was not.
Huh?
I was not involved in them.
You didn't hit anybody with a stick underneath the knee or anything like that?
No,
Nothing?
no. I mean, it's great. It gave us attention and got people excited, I think, about watching us. And I think it brought more people to watch us. And then they noticed the skill. And then they noticed the speed and other parts of the game other than just the brawls. So, you know, it brought us fans, and then they appreciated the game.
Well, you know, the game of hockey is known for that kind of physicality, right? So when women are also as physical, I guess it, I don't know, brings a sense of equity to the table here. But, you know, Jess and I were talking about it. My producer, who's your big fan, you're making her day today being here. She's a coach in college, and she has a theory that, you know, women are actually tougher than men because men will knock the living daylights out of each other, forget it, and go have a beer. But women will just, I think it's true in life that women are tougher on each other than men are. But did it go away? Does it go away after the competition, or are you guys still feeling chippy about Canada? Not the country, but the team.
I mean, off the ice, some of my teammates are friends with them, and they've played with each other and against each other for a long time, and so they develop friendships that last a while. But on the ice, we're competitive, and you know we want to win.
Yeah, all right. Dip out. You see, you're not going to get yourself in any trouble in this discussion. Tell me about the experience in Sochi. You know, I read a little bit about how you thought about it. It was kind of until you got on the plane, you didn't really even program in that I'm going to the Olympics, right?
Right. You know, we've trained for so long for. I've wanted it for so long, and it's still. So we made the team, I don't know, in January, So it was still a month away at that point, and still so much work to be done.
Now, were you playing for Harvard at the time? Or you took a year off
Correct.
to train and compete for the team, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
So I took the year off. I'll go back in the fall. And so we were still, you know, day in and day out, you're just focusing on what needs to be done and somewhat trying to put off what it's actually for. And then when you're on the plane, it was when I'm going to the Olympics right now. So.
You'll remember the moment that you realized, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of a snapshot in your life. What was Sochi like?
I mean, we were in the village and the park the whole time, so I didn't get to see the city itself, but the village and the park were great. I mean,
the city's not something you need to see. It's not really, supposedly it's not high on the tourist location, so Mr. Putin put on a pretty good show outside Sochi proper. But you were commenting about how in awe you were of just all the athletes in the Olympic Park.
Yeah, I mean, you walk down the street and you just see everyone is, you know, the best at their sport, and so, you know, just knowing that walking down the street it was a cool feeling, and you know, seeing them in the dining halls and in the dorms, and just having the little conversations about how they got to where they were and that kind of thing made the moment that much more special.
Off ice, what was your favorite moment at the whole thing?
Off ice.
Just in terms of the life experience, or who you met, or.
Yeah, I think the walking into closing ceremonies with my teammates, we were just having a blast beforehand, you know, wearing the outfits and just hanging out and having a good time, and then walking into the stadium with everyone cheering, and it was beautiful with lights, and they just did a great job. So that celebration of what we'd just been through.
Of course, you get to bring home a medal, and I'm going to open the box when we come back. We'll talk some more with Michelle Picard from Taunton, U.S. Olympian, silver medalist. Sounds good, doesn't it? Stay with us. And there's a little bit of homecoming after the silver medal was won. And listen, you're not going to get away with just seeing the medal on the screen. Come on, let me see that. I'm not going to open up your box, but this is so cool. Wow, these are heavy, huh?
Yeah.
Look at that, ladies and gentlemen, the silver medal. Put that up there in front of Michelle. Where do you want me to go with that, Kev? I don't care. Just stay right there. Stay right there. Where are we? On camera one. On camera one. We didn't practice this. We should have. Anyway, there is the Olympic medal. Congratulations. Do you stare at it at night?
I haven't. No.
No?
No.
No? It's. What do you think of when you see this? Are you disappointed? You can't be after. Not now, anyway.
I go back and forth. I see it and I'm proud, and I think of everything we've gone through. But in terms of being a team, and we had some great times, and we really came together, and so I think of that a lot. But I also think of those last 2 minutes. I see that overtime goal going in. So mixed emotions, but I do feel proud and honored that I had that opportunity, and I did earn that.
All right. So playing defense, you were on the ice when the goal went in.
I was.
Right there.
Yeah.
Was it your fault?
What
a terrible question.
I don't know how to answer that.
Do they pay me to do this? Can we do a retake? Are we allowed to retake on this show? That might have been the worst question I ever asked anybody in my career. Could you body check me or something? Oh my gosh. Was it? I'm having trouble remembering. You guys were up 2-0, and then all hell broke loose. Or what happened? Oh, forget it. I'm not even going to drag you through it anymore. It wasn't your fault. But you see the puck going in the net, don't you? In your nightmares?
I haven't woken up from it yet, no, but I don't know, certain things people say or just random moments, and I'll see it. Or
you're going to play for Harvard when you go back.
Yep.
And would you like to play in the Olympics again?
I hope so. Knock on wood.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you do after? What do you do in your world after collegiate hockey? There's no professional women's hockey league per se. So what do you do to stay competitive, to stay at the level, to be able to play on an Olympic level?
Yeah, I mean, there's a league called the CWHL, it's Canadian Women's Hockey League.
Okay.
And so technically it's not professional. The women don't get paid to play, but all expenses are paid, that type of thing.
Okay.
And so there's teams in Canada. There's one team in Boston. And so that's where a lot of the girls on our team play once they're done with college. And then a lot of the Canadian post-grads, they'll play there. And so it's great competition, and it's only gotten better as the years.
What are you studying at Harvard?
Archaeology.
To do what?
That's a good question. I have no idea. We'll see.
What do archaeology majors end up doing for a living? Did you at least check that out before you went in there?
There's
a lot of history involved in that, right? Yes.
Yeah, there's different things.
Well, you don't go to Harvard just to mail it in academically. No one at Harvard goes to, right? I mean, you've been very focused on your athletics, I'm guessing. So is that primary in your life right now versus studies, so to speak? Or?
Right now, yes, and it's always, hockey is just something I've always loved, but school's important too, and I'm excited to get back and get back to classes.
The routine.
Yes.
Regular life.
Yeah.
How'd you start?
My older brother played, and so I just was kind of born in a rink, and just followed him, wanted to be like him.
Why a defenseman?
My first coach put me there, and it just stuck. And then I was never a goal scorer, so never had that knack.
You're physical?
Yeah, I coaches say I could be more physical, but I don't get in any brawls or anything.
So what's the message to young people? It's you end up in a role model position when they're successful. What do you say to girls about what they can pursue and what their dreams ought to be all about?
I find what you love and just do it, and do it as long as you can, and until it becomes something that you don't love anymore. And people are always asking, how hard did you have to work to get here, and what do you have to sacrifice? But what people would see as sacrifice, it was a choice I made, and I chose to have this life.
A lot of hours in the rink.
Right.
A lot of early mornings for your parents.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They must have been out of their minds with this whole success story, right?
Yeah. So proud. Yeah. And they had a blast over there watching.
So at least, well, it's a sport where I think a lot of the country still doubts whether or not it's legit. It's legit. It's fast, it's physical, and it's highly skilled, right?
Yes, yeah, and I hope watching people really saw that we put a lot of time and effort in, and it's something that they can enjoy watching and their families can enjoy watching.
All right, so go home and stare at this thing. If you haven't stared at it for a while, soak it in, and say to yourself, I'm never doing the Dan Yorke show again. I've never been asked a question like that, and oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No worries.
You cannot take me anywhere. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're a pleasure, and good luck at Harvard. And when you figure it out, let me know what archaeology is going to get you.
I will.
All right. Michelle Picard, silver medalist, success story, and wasn't her fault. We'll be right back. The things that keep you awake at night, was it your fault? Oh my gosh. Your state of mind, please. I know what I'm going to get now. 228-1886 on the voicemail, stateofmind@myiritv.com. Here's an email that we got at State of Mind last night regarding Joe Trillo. Rep. Trillo is a GOP black sheep. What you were trying to tell him went over his head, or he's a Democratic undercover. I'm celebrating Fox, meaning his leaving, I think, and hope this is not the last one, says Ray. You know Joe Trillo. He was on with us last night and discussing this entire Speaker Fox thing. And as we speak, did we show Joe Trillo? Are we showing Joe Trillo? That's right. We showed him already once. We're out of time. We'll talk about the Secundit River Bridge tomorrow night. And, of course, we'll review what happened at the State House with the Speaker thing. Was it your fault?